Um, this happened about 2 years prior to making this video. Over 2 years, actually. It's been over 2 years now. But before that incident, I also had my cell phone stolen before. Even though the recent stories was an attempt. I was walking and I was actually watching a gameplay video. I was on my way home and I saw this guy. He was walking on my left side, and he said something, but I ignored him. I figured he was some young beggar. He's a young guy, man. He had been he was a baby compared to me. So I was ignoring him. I just kept going, watching my game footage on my phone. I know exactly what game it was, what boss they were fighting, and everything. I remember that shit. And it's funny because I have my father holding me as a baby as a screensaver on there. I remember all that shit. And I had my phone out like this in my hand, and I was, just looking at the game, walking, and he came on the side, left side, and he grabbed it and he yanked it out of my hand, and he runs behind me. He runs the opposite direction behind me, and I was like, I turned around. I'm like, what the fuck? I just got robbed, Needless to say, I ended up buying another one that very day because I have good money management skills. I encourage that. Money management skills, great. Anyways, I couldn't afford the whole phone. My mom had to pay the difference, so I know I wouldn't her the next month. So, now this more recent one, this was actually scary for me, and I was walking home again, and keep in mind this happened about a little over 2 years ago. I think it's a little over 2 years now. I was walking home, and I saw these two boys coming from an alley crossing the street to cross the alley across the street. I ain't thinking nothing much of them. Just young boys, going somewhere, whatever, hanging out. So I decided to cut behind them in the alley because I decided to cut the alley and go up the back steps to my apartment. So one of the boys turned around and said something like, you following us? I'm like, no. I'm thinking like, what the fuck is he talking about? My dumb ass kept going. And he was like, he was like, man, turn your ass back around and go the other way. I did it. I'm like, I don't want no fucking trouble. You know what I'm saying? I turned around and I was walking back home. And then the boy was like, hey. He's like, come here. And I turned around and said, what the fuck? So I said, kiss my black ass. That's what I was thinking. And I just kept going. And when I turned the corner to go down the street, I started running. Some told me to run as fast as you can. I ran. And lo and behold, them boys was running behind me. And they was like, hey, fat boy, stop running, and I'm still running, and I ran out of breath and shit, my fat ass. I was like, oh. I just started walking like, cause I wasn't gonna show no fucking fear. That shit was out. Cause you show fear, they know they got you. If you show some fucking fear. So I ain't showing none. I was scared like a motherfucker, but I wasn't showing it. The adrenaline was fucking building up and shit. I was ready to fight these guys if I had to. So I turned in my building. What I really should have did was knock on the neighbor's door, pretending like I knew them. And they would have left me alone. I would have like this. Hey, Alex, can Billy come out? You know, like, please pretend you know me or some shit, you know what I'm saying? And plus I had a neighbor that I actually did know, but even though I didn't know his name, I could have knocked on his door. He was the house, he lived in the house right beside my apartment building. I should have went to his motherfucking place, but I wasn't thinking. So my dumb ass goes into my courtyard, and they're like, you live here? And I was like, yeah. I just kept walking. And then he was calling to his friend, talking about, he's like, hey, stop, man. What you got in that bag? What you got in that bag? And he started calling to his friend, hey, man, get your gun. Get your gun. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me right now? Really? These motherfucking niggas want to fuck with me. You know what I'm saying? So I started getting upset. And I walked to the door. I took out my keys. And then a boy was, and one of the boys was like, he was telling me too. And I got the kid, I opened the door. He was like, where you going? And I got in, and before he got to the door, I slammed it. And he couldn't get through. So he kicks the door. And it made like a big ass crack in it. And then he ran away. Him and this little boy ran away. That was a scary experience. I even ended up bringing a knife with me. For a while, about 2 months, I had that knife in my bag, you know. Because I did end up seeing them again. Right in front of my building, talking with some kids. I saw them about twice. And I ain't seen them again. So they was probably from out of the city or not from that area. Because I never recall seeing them. My sister asked me, have you ever seen them before? I said, no. I've seen a lot of niggas in my neighborhood, but I ain't seen them. You know, I know a lot of faces. So I ain't seen them before. That was pretty terrifying because I was talking to my mom about it. I was like, shit, it's pretty fucked up. Because what if I don't think he had a gun, because if he did, he probably would pull the shit out. But I wasn't fucking chancing it. I just kept walking. You know. But I was thinking like, I could have fucking died that day, man. You know what I'm saying? It's fucking ridiculous how these motherfuckers grow up directionless, you know. They grow up fucking with people. You know, I was on a bus recently. In fact, it was late last month. I went to GameStop and bought me something. A video game place called GameStop. And I had to buy another fucking controller, you know. I mentioned it in an earlier video briefly about the controller. I mentioned that it was that day. It was that night, actually. After I did the Fat Acceptance video, Fat Acceptance Your Enemy video. It was after I did that one. It was that night when I was on the bus. I was on the bus on my way home, and these two motherfucking kids. Now they was like teenagers. There was at least young adults, early 20s at least. One of them sat behind me. One of them sat on the side of me. And I had my music on and shit, but I can tell I had glanced at him as I was listening to my music, and then he looked, he started pointing at me like that, and I'm just like, man, what the fuck this guy want, you know? But he was like, what's in that bag, boy? What's in that bag, boy? And I was like, God damn, you motherfucking niggas, man. You know, I'm glad I was on the bus because if I wasn't, they saw me on the street, they probably would have fucking robbed me. Took my cell phone, my generic ass controller, and my bag and left. It's ridiculous. I just cannot stand black thuggish motherfuckers, man. I can't stand being around them. I'm very prejudiced against them. You know, I prejudge like a motherfucker. Especially after that experience when I almost got fucking robbed with those two boys I just told you about. I can't stand them. I feel insulted when people, black men in particular, they say, well, blacks need to stick together. That's never going to happen. And I don't know why people say that. Because we live different lifestyles. It's never going to happen. We're never going to stick together. It's never going to happen. Not ever. So that's why I kind of get upset about it and I get kind of insulted. It's like, I don't want to stick with these no good motherfuckers. No. I mean, granted, all of them that dress like that, most of them are cool. They wouldn't fuck with you if you don't fuck with them. But I can't help but be prejudiced. I can't help it. You can't blame me for feeling that way towards them. You know, when I went on a bus, even if it's one guy that's looking like a thug, looking like he killed 30 people, got tattoos and shit, he's sitting next to me at the bus stop or stand with me at the bus stop, I get kind of nervous. And that's never going to go away. It pretty much goes for any young guy who dresses thuggish, baggy pants or skinny jeans and shit. You know, they look like they gang bang and shit. Look, the type of motherfuckers that get shot by police and Black Lives Matter would march for them. Like, they'll assume that the white cop was racist and he killed this dumbass resisting arrest motherfucker. Fuck Black Lives Matter. Because you don't pay attention to the real fucking issues that's plaguing the black community. Fuck y'all. Blacks need to stick together. Fuck you. Never gonna happen. Reevaluate your thinking. Don't say nothing like that. If you any race, don't say nothing like that because it's not gonna happen. You can only stick with those who mean you no harm. That are your true friends, true neighbors, those who you stick with. You ain't gonna stick with no fucking potential killers or motherfuckers that live a lifestyle that you wouldn't dream of fucking living. You can't stick with them people. You can't do it. So I thought I'd share this story. I wanted to share this story for a couple of days, you know, about this. I just thought I'd make a video on it. And it was terrifying, you know, it was. I just hope that it never happens to me again because I'm glad I've never been held at gunpoint in my life. Never been held at gunpoint. I hope it never happens. I heard it's a very traumatizing experience to be held at gunpoint. It's terrible. Very traumatizing because they can pull that trigger. That's the end of your life. Your life is in their hands. And if you ever get, heaven forbid this happens, if you ever get held by gunpoint, do everything they say. Don't bluff them. Don't say, I bet you that gun ain't loaded type of shit. Because if you say no, you might end up killed. Because there was this one video I saw. It was a car surveillance. There was this Chinese girl. She got some money. I think she was Chinese. It was a woman, put it that way. It was a woman that was getting money out of an ATM. The robber came up to her. You know, I'm pretty sure he's asked her, give me your fucking money. And you can see her go. At that moment, he blew her fucking brains out. You should have gave him the money. You don't tell them no. He's got a gun pointed at you. A gun! That's why I don't feel bad about it. She got killed. If she would have said, okay, here, take the fucking money, he would have ran off. She's like, and he was like, oh, really? Pow! I watched that video with my neighbor. I was like, you see that shit? She was like, I love Cora. She's my mom's neighbor, really, though. But you get my point. She's a friend of mine. Still talk on occasion. But yeah, so I was like, damn. So anyways, it's pretty much the end of my video. This is Y Chromosome signing out. Peace and love.